Let's get started this evening. I want to welcome everybody tonight. We got a few things on the agenda, but first we're going to go ahead and stand and do a prayer and do the pledge of allegiance of the flag.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day. Thank you for this wonderful Talbot Day that we're celebrating today. Thank you for all of your blessings. Please look over us as a county. Please look over us as a state. Please look over us as a nation. We thank you for your security. We thank you for your love. In Jesus' most precious and holy name we pray. Amen. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stepp. Appreciate that. Okay, I want to welcome everybody. First on the agenda, we have April 25th, which is tonight. And is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Okay, Council. Hearing none, the chair moves that the agenda be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay, next on the agenda is the minutes of April 11th are before us. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes?
No.
Okay. All right. Hearing none, the chair moves that the minutes be accepted as unanimous consent. All right. Next is the disbursements of April 25th are before us. Council's had time to take a look at them. Is there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the disbursements? Okay. No. Hearing none. The chair moves that the disbursements be accepted as unanimous consent. Okay. Okay. First, we're going to introduce. We got an introduction. We've got a new county communication manager. Sarah, would you like to come on up? We want to welcome you.
Well, thank you so
Yes.
much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so excited to be joining the county. My name is Sarah Kilman. I grew up in Talbot County, and now I'm back in Talbot County.
That's good.
I served 2 years with Senator Johnny Mounts up in his office, and now I'm excited to serve this county as your communications manager.
That's great. That's great. Well, Mr. Stamp, you want to?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
I think that we're very fortunate to get Sarah to decide to join our team. Number one, she's accomplished. She's a good communicator. Mm-hmm. And I think that this council has prioritized our ability to better communicate, to tell the good stories that are to be told, the good work of many. And so we hope to up our game with our daily releases, with our web presence, with our feature stories, and to just enhance that interaction between our community and the council and the government.
Thank you, Mr. Stamp.
We're happy to have Sarah.
Yep. So I'll kind of start off, Mrs. Heath. You were advocate of getting her here, and what in this position. So we really appreciate your effort because it's well needed.
Thank you. So yes, that was one of the things I think when I was first elected that I discussed with Clay. It's like, we need a communications person to tell our story and the good news in Talbot County. So I see proud mom back there, Dina. So proud of your daughter. I mean, to have a young person that wants to be here in Talbot County, I think that is a mother's dream. Certainly one of mine too, Dina. But Sarah has just hit the ground running. She joined me at the ribbon cutting last week. The press releases are going out into the community. So welcome to Talbot County. It's refreshing to have you here working with us, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Ms. Mulkey?
Yes, and welcome aboard. Look forward to smooth sailing in our communications.
Yep. Mr. Lesher?
Well, yes, my email inbox already has ample evidence of how hard you've been working, so thank you, and look forward to working with you, particularly on the new website project, but on all the things that we need to do to better engage with the public. Thank you.
I'll keep it simple. Welcome and thanks for the rock star work already, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm with my colleagues, you've been here a week now, and your boots on the ground, and I really appreciate it, because this is really something that we need to kind of tell our story, let people understand what we're doing, and alert people what's going on. So we can't thank you enough for coming, and looking forward to working with you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yep, thanks. Yep. Okay, next up, we've got a proclamation of a Maryland Month of Young Children, and I see a few of them out there. Yes, that's for sure. So, Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read the proclamation into the record, please?
Maryland Month of the Young Child, April 2023. Whereas in recognition of Maryland's Celebrate the Month of the Young Child in 2023, coordinated by the Governor's Office for Children, Youth, and Families and the Maryland Association for the Education of Young Children, the Talbot County Council encourages all organizations and citizens to honor April as Maryland's Month of the Young Child. And whereas this effort will increase the public awareness of and focus public attention on the needs of young children and their families, the necessity of supporting early childhood programs and services that meet these needs, and the availability of programs and services that meet the needs of young children in Talbot County. Now therefore, we, the County Council of Talbot County, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2023 as the month of the young child in Talbot County, and encourage government agencies, community-based organizations, service groups, and private citizens to spread the message throughout our communities that young children and their specific needs are important in today's society. Given under our hands in the Great Seal of Talbot County this 25th day of April in the year of our Lord 2023.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. I appreciate that. Is there a motion?
I'll move for the proclamation.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and present the proclamation. Madam Secretary, could you call the roll?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
That's great. Is Mrs. Myers here? Yeah, come on up. We'll bring a couple of the kids. Come on up. We got to see the kids. If the kids want to come up, they're welcome to come up. There we go. There we go. If you don't mind sitting, that way we can hear you talk.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about it. Yep. There we go. There we go.
Hi.
How
I'm
you
Dina
doing?
Myers.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is Becca, and this is Wilson, and they're two Judy Center children.
Okay.
So I'm the coordinator of the Judy Center here in Easton,
Mhm.
and Lori Julian
Uh-huh.
is the coordinator in St. Michael's. So in case you're not familiar with Judy Centers,
Uh-huh.
they're all across the state of Maryland.
Okay.
There's at least one in every county, multiple in some counties.
Uh-huh.
Here in Talbot County, we're fortunate to have two Judy
Great.
Centers. And our goal is to prepare children for success in school and in life, and we start very early.
Okay.
So it's the first 5 years of life that a child's brain develops the most and fastest than any other time in their life. So it's really crucial for all these programs in our community. So thank you for recognizing Month of the Young Child.
Mhm.
Here in Talbot County, we get to celebrate young children every day in the work that we do, so we're very fortunate. But it is a good time to focus the public attention on all the needs of young children and families, and to appreciate all of the early childhood programs and services in our community. So would you mind if I introduced everybody as they came up?
Absolutely.
Or
Yeah,
photo?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So we have our friends.
Just stand up when, okay, yeah.
Can we get a picture?
Absolutely. You're coming up here in a minute. You're coming up in there. Just go ahead and introduce.
Okay,
Yep.
so this is just a small representation
Yep.
of all the wonderful programs in the community that serve young children. So we have Giovanni Wish, she's a family service coordinator at St. Michael's. We're gonna take a picture. Lori Julian is our coordinator in St. Michael's at the Judy Center. And Kathy Walker is our family engagement specialist for Project Right Steps. Denise Taylor Turner, coordinator of Project Right Steps. Natasha Washington is our home visitor. Amy Wallstrom is our supervisor and the early childhood supervisor, curriculum supervisor for the Talbot
That's
County
great.
Public Schools.
That's great.
Christy Morrell is executive director for Critchlow Atkins Children's Center and Imagination Library in Talbot County.
Nice. Good. Good.
Gloria Palmer is owner and director of Palmer's care program. Summer Moore is my family service coordinator. And Nicole Chase Powell, Healthy Families Midshore.
That's great.
She runs all of those.
That's great.
And Diana. Diana's one of our parents, and she's amazing. And do you want to come up here, Sandy? Okay, come on. Sandy's another Judy Center.
There you go.
friend.
There
And
we go.
Sandy is Becca's older brother. So, and they've been with the Judy Center for a while. So.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. You want to come get-
Well, if you guys could come on up,
Can
we're
we
going
come
to,
up?
yep,
Yes.
yep.
Thank you.
Yep, Mr. Stepp, you want to go ahead and present the proclamation? Yeah? Yeah, kind of just circle right on around here. Yep.
You don't know how nice it is to have you here to do that.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the library.
I'm gonna take a picture with this and with myself, if you don't mind.
No, you're fine.
Come on, Ness. Just so you can see everybody's face, yeah. That's good. Make sure you're facing that behind someone's head. All right, let me take a couple of this. Sometimes in big groups, these are better. Thanks, everybody. So they are little ones.
Isn't it awesome? Yeah. If you could, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, all right, that was great. Okay, we got one more proclamation, and it's National Library Week. So, Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read that one? That would be great.
National Library Week 2023, whereas the week of April 26th through the 29th, 2023 has been declared National Library Week, and whereas the Talbot County Free Library has long served our community as one of its most trusted institutions, a place that lies close to all our hearts. And whereas the Talbot County Free Library has promoted, encouraged, and made reading fun for children and their families as an investment in a child's future education and ultimately all aspects of their lives. And whereas the Talbot County Free Library is as much about what the library can do with and for our community as it is about what can be found on its shelves, serving people of all ages, interests, and backgrounds, providing the resources and space needed for lifelong learning, and allowing the discovery of information needed to fulfill their dreams. And whereas the Talbot County Free Library offers use of equipment and provides professional staff support to utilize technology, programs, and services, all absolutely free of charge. And whereas the Talbot County Free Library serves as a resource for all, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. And whereas we recognize librarians as information professionals who provide expertise, services, and guidance for the citizens of Talbot County to access credible sources and material so that our citizens can make their own informed decisions about today's world. And whereas the Talbot County Free Library provides access to and displays a wide range of information supporting the freedom to read, which is essential to our democracy and among our greatest freedoms. And whereas the Talbot County Free Library supports one of America's founding ideals, that intellectual freedom is essential to the preservation of a free society and a creative culture. And whereas the staff of the Talbot County Free Library upholds the professional values of diversity, equity, and inclusion to meet the needs of all users. And whereas, as America celebrates National Library Week, including April 25th, National Library Workers' Day, which highlights the immeasurable contributions made by library workers, April 26th, National Outreach Day, which demonstrates that library services are not limited to their physical location, and April 27th, Take Action for Libraries Day, which encourages community support for libraries. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the County Council of Talbot County, do hereby proclaim April 23rd through the 29th, 2023 to be National Library Week in Talbot County, and encourage our fellow citizens to visit the Talbot County Free Library and explore all the ways in which it helps our county and its people to thrive. Given under our hands in the Great Seal of Talbot County this 25th day of April in the year of our Lord, 2023.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Good job. Okay, is there a motion?
I move approval of the proclamation.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion second to present this into the record. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Great, great. You ladies want to come on up?
My name is Scotty Oliver. I'm the Assistant Director, and I'm here with our President, Susan Sherman. And I think it's really wonderful that we are doing it at the same day one of our great partners, the Judy Center and Talbot County Public Schools, are celebrating the month of the young child. We would all like to invite you to our kickoff event for the summer reading program, the 8th annual Chesapeake Children's Book Festival. And the Judy Center will be there, and Imagination Library will be celebrating its 10th anniversary there. I don't think I need to say anything beyond what the proclamation said, but we are very proud to live in Maryland, better known as Library Heaven. We're very fortunate that the libraries in Maryland work very closely together and really build strength on strength. So, Susan?
Well, I just want to say thank you first for declaring this Library Week. I think that you have, by doing that, really shown the value you place in our library, which is such an invaluable part of our community with all of the resources and programs and services it offers to every single individual. And I think that we could not do that without your support. So we thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to let you start off here.
Well,
This is this is you.
I proudly get to serve as the council's liaison to the library board, so I get a little bit of an inside look into all of the broad variety of services that you offer, and the staff and volunteers that offer it, which are just incomparable. So thanks for all that you do, and look forward to doing even greater things with the projects that you've got on the books.
Thank you, Mr. Lesher. Mr. Stepp.
Well, Pete said basically what I wanted to say. So, what Pete said. So, but no, thank you. It's exciting to see what's coming as far as our libraries here in the county. It's nice to see them coming into the 21st century with some of the technology and giving folks access to that. Really exciting. So, thank you.
Yep. Ms. Milky.
Ditto to what they said, and look forward to all the plans that you have in helping you achieve those for our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Heath.
So we truly appreciate all that the library does and has to offer for the community, and the speaker series and things that are held at the St. Michael's Library and Easton Library is very valuable to the community. So thank you for all of your dedicated and hard work to the community.
Yep, and like my colleague said, we really appreciate everything, and we're excited for not only the Easton one, but the St. Michael's one project to jump forward to. So we're really happy for you, and we really appreciate everything you guys do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, come on up. Yep. Yep.
Oh, yes. This is Steve Simonson, our outreach and volunteer coordinator, and Mary Pellegrino, who's also on the board.
This newly elected treasurer of our.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, that was great. Okay, moving on with the agenda, introduction of legislation. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and read the bill into the record, please?
A bill to address remaining comments and conditions of approval imposed by the Maryland Critical Area Commission, the Commission, for Bill Number 1525, a bill to amend Chapter 190 of the Talbot County Code, zoning, subdivision, and land development, regarding the expansion of structures utilized for non-conforming uses, subject to certain conditions.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. Mr. Thomas, you want to just go ahead and brief us on that, please?
Sure.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so the council passed bill number 1525 back in September of last year, amending the zoning code regarding the expansion of structures used for non-conforming uses. That was processed by the Maryland Critical Area Commission as a refinement to the county's critical area program. In February, the Critical Area Commission approved Bill 1525 with the condition that there be further amendments stating that within the RC zoning district, the cumulative result of multiple expansions of structures used for non-conforming uses must comply with subsection B thereof as amended, and the lot coverage limits for the entire site, with any request beyond that requiring growth allocation. The Planning Commission considered that on March 1st and unanimously recommended that the council approve the same. So it is now before you in the form of a bill. And so Mr. Zach Smith is here on behalf of his client, Mr. Jerry Davis, that had originally requested the legislation in the first place, and they can speak to that as well as staff.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Council,
Yeah,
thank you.
yep, sure.
Bryce Yelton, Assistant Planning
Yeah.
Officer.
Yep.
This text amendment is before you. This is before the council for the second time. As Mr. Thomas had stated, this had previously gone to the prior council for approval, and it was forwarded to the Critical Area Commission with the state of Maryland. They had come back with that refinement, which is essentially the cumulative results of multiple expansions must meet the RC district standards, and as it's written. This request is typical of other critical area standards that we have in our existing code, and it's just tacked on to this restriction as well. So this text amendment would allow for non-conforming uses. These are uses in certain zoning districts that are not typically allowed in our current zoning standards to be allowed to expand structures that are utilized for that use. This would allow, in our current code, you're allowed a 20% expansion of that non-conforming structure used for that use, which if you have a 3,000 square foot building, that's only 500 square feet. This was introduced to allow for up to 3,000 square feet to be asked for through the special exception process. So this would require a site plan application if utilized, along with a special exception hearing from the Board of Appeals for any request that goes along with this proposed tax amendment. And so that's why we're here today, is just for that refinement from the critical area, and happy to answer any questions.
Okay.
Nothing additional to add right now.
Okay.
Here if you
Okay.
guys have questions though.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Okay. All right. All right, so at this time, we'll raise your hand to introduce.
Okay.
So, Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and announce the number and the public hearing time and date, please?
Yes, this will be known as Bill number 1530, and the public hearing will be held on Tuesday, May 23rd at 6:30 PM.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, we got about 4 minutes before the public hearing starts, so we're just a hair ahead of schedule. All right, yeah, exactly.
Did we want to jump
Yep.
ahead with any
Do we want
airport or?
to jump ahead? Do we? You want to go over a few things, Mr. County Manager? You want to jump ahead a few? You got now 3.5 minutes.
Well, since I have the time, just
Okay.
a reminder,
Yep.
for those that might be watching, the county has a number of vacancies available
Yep.
on other boards and committees. If you're interested in serving, please contact the county manager's office at 410-770-8010 or visit our website at www.talbotcountymd.gov. Vacancies exist for the following: Adult Public Guardianship Review Board, Agricultural Resolution Board, Animal Control Board, Board of Appeals, Board of Election Examiners, Commission on Aging, Historic Preservation Commission, Public Works Advisory Board, Talbot County Local Drug and Alcohol Abuse Council, and the Talbot County Property Tax Assessment Appeals Board. Just a reminder for anyone that would like to serve.
Okay. All right, great.
You good?
Yep. That sounds good. Anything else, or we got a minute or so? Yeah, just a
We have one
few.
bill eligible for vote.
I'm sorry.
We have one bill eligible for vote.
Okay,
Can we move
all right,
with
we
that?
could do that. Okay. Yep, okay, all right, Madam Secretary, you want to read that bill, into the record then?
Bill number 1528, a bill to amend Chapter 190 of the Talbot County Code, zoning, subdivision, and land development, Sections 190-15, critical area overlay, 190-25.2, table of land uses, 190-31, marine uses, 190-33, accessory uses, 190-50, non-conforming structures, 190-58.2, minor variances, and 190-78, terms defined regarding erosion control measures, piers, and riparian structures.
Okay, thank you, Madam Secretary. All right, I'll open for council discussion on anything here. Okay,
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
yep.
reiterate some of what I said
Yep.
before, which is,
Yep.
it seems that, that while we had a representative of a private landowner come forward and propose some changes, there were a whole lot of additional changes that, that our zoning staff had seen a need for, spent a lot of time compiling, getting right, getting vetted, and I just want to thank them for the thoroughness with which they addressed all of these issues on dealing with docks and waterfront structures and such, riparian structures. A lot of good attention, and I think it was clarified that last week when the attorney for the private landowner spoke, that this is not a more permissive environment. It is simply making some, I think, very important clarifications that hopefully will make your job as zoning staff easier and fairer for the citizens of Talbot County as well. So thank you for your diligence in getting us to this point.
okay. Anybody else? Yep, I want to say the same. I want to commend you guys. You've worked hard, because this has been in the makings for, I think, a few years, putting this together. So you guys done your homework, and your team behind you, and Planning Commission, and a Board of Appeals, and all them guys, I think, has had input in public work. So appreciate the good work on everybody. So, okay, at this time, is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and present the bill as presented. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, I think we're ready for the, open the public hearing. Okay, Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and please read the resolution 341 in the record for the public hearing?
Resolution number 341, a resolution to amend the 911 fee for Talbot County, Maryland by increasing the fee from 75 cents to $1.50 per month.
Okay, thank you. Okay, do we want to, Brian, you want to come on up? You don't want to bring anybody up with you? I know Holly wants to come up, you know? Holly, this is a lot better than a hug, okay? All right. How you doing, guys?
Good evening.
Good,
We're doing
good,
well, thank you.
good.
Brian Lacates,
Yep.
Director of Talbot County Emergency Services.
Holly Gusky, 911 Communications Chief.
So this is a bill that we're requesting for the increase of the 911 service fee that would be applied to all Talbot County residents, telephones, whether it's landline or cellular, any device that's capable of calling 911. And this is to help offset the increasing cost to deliver services from our PSAP. So it would be reducing the amount of money that we rely on from the general fund to be able to fund operations. So the state of Maryland had created a new adjusted legislation which allows us to audit our system and determine additional costs that were not being covered by the 911 fee and adjust the fee accordingly. So this would be doing that, just increasing it to help offset the cost.
Okay.
The last time the fee was increased was 2004, which I think is very important to talk about because a lot's changed in 19 years of delivering services to the county.
Okay, that's great. Okay. Any other discussion? Or
Just a reminder from Mr. Lacates. I recall during budget presentations this year that while this will increase the amount collected from everybody's phone on their monthly bill, specifically to pay for 911 services, it still is not going to pay even half of the cost of actually all that you do to make sure that those services are available to us all the time, round the clock when we need them. That this is going to pay for what maybe as much as 40% of the cost of that operation.
Yes, sir, you are correct, Mr. Lesher. Thank you for pointing that out. So currently we're asking for, or we're only recovering about 30% of our operating costs. This will push it closer to, or a little over 40%, right about 40% of our operating cost.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So I guess at this time, any other discussion through council? So I'll go ahead and open it to the public. Would anybody care to speak on it? Okay. I see you starting
Sure,
there.
Mr. Council
Yep,
President, I'd be
yep.
glad to speak.
Yep.
I think that Chief Lacates, or Director Lacates, is exactly correct. It's been since 2004 since the fee has been adjusted. The technology continues to be enhanced. It's important that we keep up with the technology we have. So I think this is an important bill to pass. And while I have the floor just for a minute, I want to recognize Chief Gusky and her team down there at our dispatch center. They keep their finger on the pulse of what's going on in this county, and they are the gateway to our emergency response system, day in, day out, 24 hours a day. So I would just like to express my support for this as well.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. So I guess at this time, Madam Secretary, can I go ahead and close the public hearing? Okay, at this time, I'll close the public hearing on Resolution 341. So we can go ahead and vote on this?
Yes.
Okay. So is there a motion?
I'll move to move forward with the vote.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to move forward to go ahead and raise the fees for the 911. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Okay.
support. We
Yep,
appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for your hard work on all that, too. Okay, I think we've got that one done, so I think, yep. Okay, we're going to do the update at Easton Airport.
All right, good
Hey,
evening.
good evening.
Yeah, get everything working here.
Yeah,
get all
no
the
problem.
technology
No,
working.
no problem. Just tell everybody who you are and because everybody does know who
Should be
you are.
working.
Should be working.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Michael Risher, Airport
Yep.
Manager. And as soon as I get the mouse working, we will
Mhm.
be off to the races. Here we go. There we go. Okay. We'll get that up there. Susan, did we have the other graphic of the airfield? Or no, if not, I can,
I think they,
it's fine. We can just roll with this.
I can go load it real fast, Mike.
Okay. I'll start and then, all right. Good evening, council. Thank you for taking a few minutes to hear the update from your community airport out there. Our 80th year, by the way. So I think that this presentation will be timely and informative. The entire focus of this presentation really is going to revolve around the airfield modernization program, our future plans, our very near future plans, because we'll be kicking it off here within the next 6 months. So it's an exciting time for the airport, an exciting time for citizens of Talbot County. So this is a brief overview. I'm really going to hit on the benefits of the modernization program, talk about our informational campaign, what we're doing to keep everybody in the loop. We'll talk about our construction phases, how we're going to pay for it, which is probably the most important thing, and the timeline, what it looks like. After we talk about that, I will fill you in on some of our education initiatives and events and tours that we have going on. So I'm not going to talk through, I'm not just going to read through this. These are the highlights. I know that you've looked at it, and I'll just kind of hit the big points for you here. So the primary goal of this project is to increase safety, and it's to modernize the airport. Okay, almost every tour we do out there, we always get somebody to say, is this going to allow bigger planes? Are we going to have passenger service? Or are we turning into BWI? And the answer to all of that is no. The reason we're doing this, in a nutshell, is the current runway is too close to Route 50 on the north end. We're essentially sliding it down, shifting it down to the southwest, removing 1,000 foot of pavement on the north end, and making it a safer environment and putting the runway safety areas in there. While we're doing this is literally an 80% rebuild of that airfield. Now, literally, when you go out there and look at that environment, we are going to change 80% of it. So while we're making these safety upgrades, we are going to put new technology. We're going to, new wiring, smaller regulators, less energy consumption. The environmental impacts are going to be huge to the positive sense. We're going to drain everything, bring it up to date, put in new swales, mitigation, things of that nature. And I'll talk a little bit more about that. We're going to bring everything up to the modern environmental standards. This is going to ensure the future of a viable airport. It's going to ensure the future of aviation in Talbot County for the next century is what it's going to do. It's going to position us where we need to be to meet our current customers' needs and the needs of our customer of tomorrow. Some key points, just a little bit of background. We started this in 2006. There was an exhaustive 12-year study. The environmental assessment was approved in September of 2018. That's on the website. It's about as thick as one of the old Encyclopedia Britannicas, but it's all in there. Everything was looked at from environmental impacts, noise, socioeconomic impacts, you name it. Everything was studied over that 12-year period, and it can all be looked at transparently to the public. Again, the FAA approved that plan September 29th, 2018. Okay. So we've been working on it for a while. In 2017, we started our obstruction removal program. So again, we did the plan. The plan was approved in 2018. In 2017, we started some of the enabling projects to get ready, to get us to the point where we are now. 14 CFR Part 77 is the federal reg that establishes the standards that we use. So why do we need to, why do we need to remove the trees that we removed and the light poles and the buildings and that's what defines all that. So we use those regulations to develop our obstruction removal program. When we started that program, it affected 59 parcels that surrounded or were adjacent to the airport. So a lot of work has gone into it in the last 6 years. I'm very happy to say, a lot of work and a lot of money, quite frankly, that we only have 5 properties remaining that need to be adjudicated. And as far as the Runway 22 project, we're down, which is the primary that we're going to be shifting, we're down to only 2 properties that we need to adjudicate. And realistically, there's no problem with it. It's all just timing and funding. It takes a while to coordinate. What we've done with every one of these 59 parcels is talk with the property owner, be it residential or commercial, and quite frankly, negotiate a deal that's of value to everybody to get something everybody can live with. And so the last 2 properties that remain on 422, we've done that, and we're in the final phases of putting that action plan together. All right, so the program in general, what will it do? And that's a really great picture right there. You probably have a good view of it. Shows the Talbot County Business Center right there on the end of the runway. And so all that space that's in that parcel, that nearly 60 acres, is going to become the new runway safety area. As the runway shifts down 1,900 feet from its current location, we'll then discontinue use of 1,000 feet on the north end. That'll give us a solid 1,000 feet on the north end of the runway, and that'll give us a solid 1,000 feet on the southwest end of the runway. That was really the goal, was to get safety areas on both ends of the runway. Little history of the business center. Talbot County purchased that in 2017. The sole purpose of purchasing that was to be used as a runway safety area. The FAA did reimburse Talbot County in 2019, and in December of 2019, Easton Airport took over the management, and all the financials kicked over to the Easton Airport. We're federally obligated via grant assurances to use the property for the reasons we said we would. And we are also, current and future use of the property is restricted by MDE's voluntary cleanup program, which is another big deal, because what that means is the Easton Airport has taken on the responsibility of cleaning up the site. So as we go through this project, we'll have the test of soil. Obviously, it was an industrial site. There are still abandoned oil tanks and things buried in the ground. We've surveyed it. We know where they are. We're taking that responsibility up to clean up this site and to restore it to a clean green space. And that's all been in the plan. Okay, so this is the safety upgrades. This is really, this is what's going to benefit the users of the airport primarily. Like I said, approximately 80% of the airfield is going to be reconstructed over 6 to 8 years. This is a huge project, one of the largest projects that's happened in Talbot County in decades, and the largest project that's happened at Easton Airport since the construction of the airport 80 years ago. 1,000 feet safety areas on either end of the runway, a new instrument landing system with natural gas powered backup systems. That'll be state of the art, so we never lose service for the ILS in the midst of a storm. We don't have that today. New GPS approaches will be published for all 4 runways. All the airfield lighting will be completely redone. That's a big deal. It's a lot of wiring out there, and it's decades old, and it fails often, right? So we have incandescent bulbs. It's all going to be pulled out. It's new home runs will be poured. All the bulbs will be replaced with LED. We estimate about a 30% reduction in energy usage because of that alone. On the airfield environment itself, signage will be brought up to modern code, new airfield markings, new numbering conventions. Of course, the pavement will be new. New taxiway geometry for enhanced runway safety and situational awareness. Just a quick example of what that means. Our airport, the infrastructure, the taxiing infrastructure is so old. It's like driving around in roads that were designed in the 50s, you know, the signage and just the way the roads are laid out, whereas, you know, everything else has been updated. Just as an example, on our ramps, we have taxiways that go straight out from the ramp, and you can actually run directly into the runway. So if a pilot's not really paying attention, you know, there's nothing to kind of get their attention or to stop them. New design standards call for 90-degree turns. That way, if you leave a ramp, you have to make a 90-degree turn left or right, and then make another 90-degree turn to get into the runway environment. That's something that we're including. It's a safety feature that you know, not many people are going to know about, but it's going to pay huge dividends and make the airfield a lot safer. New visual landing aids on all 4 runways, and the airfield lighting is going to be hardwired into the control tower. So the controllers are the ones that actually, when a plane's inbound, they flip the lights on, set the intensity, things of that nature. Right now, it's on a remote system, so if the weather's bad, or if, you know, just like Wi-Fi, if the connection's not good, you know, when the controller's up there hitting that button, it's sending a signal up to the terminal by the lighting bulb, and sometimes there's a communication delay. So that's going to be hardwired, so the controllers can flip the switch and the system will work properly. This slide here is one of the ones that I've really been excited about presenting to you and the community, and these are really the, you know, a lot of people say, well, I don't use the airport. I don't go to the airport. What's the benefit to me? And this really is the environmental benefits for the entire community. For one, we're going to demolish the Talbot County Business Center. It's a 50-year-old building. It's extremely inefficient. The electric bills there are absolutely astronomical. It's nothing about that building is good for the environment, right? That's going to be removed. That 60 acres is going to be replaced with green space. That's going to look good to the community. It'll be nicely landscaped. Actually, just yesterday, our draft planting plan got sent over to the town of Easton for their review. It's what the final product will look like once the business center is gone and the fence is put where the final destination is going to be. The fence line is going to be nicely landscaped with, you know, bushes and flowering trees. We're going to turn that parcel into a very nice looking parcel as you come up the parkway. Replace and improve the drainage pipes. The drainage pipes, again, they were put there decades ago. Since then, there's been a lot of construction on the east side of 50, you know, that you don't think about it, but that drains that way across the airfield. You know, it's a bit of a mess out there. It doesn't drain well. We're going to put in, I think 48-inch pipes or something. It's going to really improve the drainage from the east side of 50 through the airport environment down to the creek. Stormwater controls, where that existing pond is right now in the Talbot Business Center parcel, is going to be removed, and a swale system is going to be installed. So this drainage that I'm talking about, as it moves across that parcel, you know, all the pollutants, it will filter out before it dumps into the headwaters of Glebe Creek there. We're going to clean up the waste at the former Black & Decker in accordance with the voluntary cleanup program. Again, they're going to test the dirt as we move it. Not every truckload, but there's requirements that we'll meet. So we'll be testing the dirt as we move it around. And quite frankly, we had to get a waiver to use that dirt that's on that 60 acres of the old Black & Decker and move it onto the existing airport property. So that's how stringently we're watching where we're moving the soil around over there. Let's see here. We're going to reduce the electricity usage, which is a big deal because we spend a lot of money on electricity at our airport. So 30% less. The reduction of impervious surface by 13 acres. That is a huge deal, and that's always one that we want to highlight. We're going to reduce the amount of impervious surface out there by 13 acres, namely by removing the business center and removing discontinuing the use of 1,000 foot on the north end of runway 422. New lighting vault, modern wiring, and one that you really can't quantify, construction efficiency. We have prioritized planning this project. Let's just an example. We prioritize how can we keep trucks off of our roadways, you know, to the extent that we can. We're going to have to truck in a good amount of soil, but we're going to borrow a lot of the soil from like the north ends of the airport and down at the stockpile by the maintenance shop. So the first thing we're going to do when this starts is we're going to demolish the parking lots at the business center and use them to put down service roads on airport property so that we can move about 150,000 cubic yards of dirt moving around on those service roads and not using Airport Road, Glebe Road, Centerville Road. So we're how can we keep the trucks off the road? And that, in a sense, it's going to reduce, emissions, things of that nature. So when we say that we really looked at this and we planned it to be beneficial to the environment all the way around, we're very sincere about that. Okay. Start talking about how we're going to pay for all this great stuff, right? So the total cost of the program on paper today that was in your packet is $52 million over the next 6 years. Guarantee you that'll increase. This will end up being $75 million by the time we're done with it. The great news is that the FAA is going to pay for 90% of it. So our AIP grant funds, they always cover 90%. The infrastructure bill that was approved about 18 months ago, what we refer to as the bill funds, that's going to top up. That's going to be about an extra $3.5 million that's coming to us over the next 5 years. We're guaranteed to get $763,000 annually out of that one bucket. So that's that's a little different than usual. The good news about that is, as the bill funds will all be used within 5 years. So whether what that means is airports that aren't ready to do their projects, they're going to get their money taken away, and it's going to get sent to Easton for us to get our project done faster, because we are going to be ready. MAA grants from the state, they generally fund 5%, but they are limited to hard costs only. So if we're doing design or admin, they don't cover that anymore because of state budgetary restrictions. And Easton Airport will pay the remaining 5%, and that is our highest budget priority to get this project completed.
Micah, just to kind of just recap what you were saying at the beginning. So what are you expecting the cost to run over so much for? And then are we going to be responsible for 5% of that?
No. The FAA
Okay.
will still fund the 90%.
Okay.
It just, that $52 million number was quite frankly a pre-COVID number.
Okay.
And the FAA, they do a terrible job at allowing their budget forecasting. They keep it level forever when that's not what's happening in the real world.
Right.
So that was the number that's plugged in.
Okay.
But the reality is, it's going to increase. They know it's going to increase. They just haven't put it in there yet.
I got you.
I'll get to what we're actually doing this year. This year, we're going to be requesting like $11.2 million. We were forecasting that at like 6 or 7, but it's going to be 11. And they're going to end up paying the 90% of that 11.
And we're going to be responsible for how much?
We'll be responsible for 5%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Of the overall cost?
Of the overall cost.
Okay.
Yeah. And I have some of our specifics broken down.
Okay.
Don't want to jump ahead too far. But
No, I'm just kind of curious so everybody understands.
Like, for an example, this first round, for the 11 million that we're seeking, we're going to pay 638,000. So that's our portion. That's what's been budgeted. That's in this year's budget. We actually budgeted more than that because it's our priority.
Good.
So October 2023, the Talbot County Business Center will transition to a construction site. So I want to be very upfront about what this means. So in October, we're fully expecting to apply for the grant this week. Quite frankly, we'll go through that here in a minute. Once, if we gain approval from you guys, we'll send it out to FAA. We fully expect them to fund it. We fully expect them to announce that award in September. Through conversations with them, we've asked them to hold off until the end of summer because, quite frankly, again, if there's airports that aren't ready to move, there will be extra money. They can give us the maximum amount of money later in the summer. So we're expecting that grant award in September, and then we want to have everything queued up and ready to push the go button in October. We'd like to have a groundbreaking ceremony out there in October. The site will transition to a construction site. The very first thing we're going to do, we have to put up security fencing. So there will be security fencing. It'll be a combination of security and containment because we need containment fencing for the construction site, and we need security fencing because it's going to transition to an active airfield. This will be a stepped process. But in October, what you'll see is a 10-foot fence with felt quite frankly, on it, and it will be erected on the property to the outer work limits. So it will be closer to Glebe Road and the Parkway than what the final fence will be. During the construction for a 2-year period, the fence will be closer to the Parkway. It'll be basically in line with the utility easement. So if you go down there and you see where the utility poles are, it'll be basically in line with that. And the couple reasons. One, there's going to be a lot of dirt staged there. It'll be staged along there. There's going to be construction happening on that site. This is a mass earthwork project. Over the 12 months from October of this year, we're going to end up moving nearly 400,000 cubic yards of soil around. That's 30 to 40,000 dump truck loads, depending on the size of the dump truck. So parking lots will be demolished. And through 24, we are going to, another thing to note, now I didn't put it in here, but we've communicated this with all the tenants, both governmental tenants and non-governmental tenants. We actually reached out over the last week. We've had phone calls. We're sending emails. APG called us back today right as we were leaving. There's nobody in that business center that does not know that this is happening. And everybody's been alerted as early as December that the time is now and it's time to move your operation out of there. We're continuing to work with them and communicate and work with Cassandra's office, help to the extent that we can. And we have some leeway. We're trying to work with everybody to find solutions, but the reality is the building is going to be coming down very shortly. In 2024, we'll need that time to prepare the building, pull out systems that are recyclable. There's a lot of things in there that we can use. We can recycle and we can raise money for the project or just recycle and reuse. That is also the goal. Recycle, reuse as much of that as we can. Stuff that's in the building, prep the systems. There's HVAC units in there that, none of them they're not that old. They can be salvaged and used in other county buildings. Let me see here. Another big thing that we want everybody to know is starting next year with the parking lots and then continuing into 2025 when the building truly comes down, we're going to recycle as much of that building as we possibly can. So the concrete's going to be broken up and smashed, and it's literally going to be used for the sub-base of the new airfield, right? So we're recycling as much as that building, keeping it and using it to the extent that we can. It'll be used for service roads. In 24, like I said, a mass earthwork project to include improve the grading and the drainage, and the new wetlands will be put on the Talbot County Business Center. In 2025 will be the actual building demolition. Probably January of 2025 is when we're looking at demolishing, the building. So of course, with any large demo like that, there's a lot of prep work. We need the tenants out. We need utilities disconnected. There's gas. There's a humongous electrical. It's going to be a big deal. Getting folks out so we can get all that disconnected properly. 2025 will see the demo, the final grading of that site, major utility relocation, and just kind of forecasting a little bit into 26, 27. That's when we'll actually start building the new runway that's 1,900 feet. To the southwest, build the new connector taxiways, airfield lighting, and things of that nature. I'm sorry, Jessica, were you able to get that other one up there? I'm just going to just jump down for just a moment if I could. Oh no. Where's the? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So you guys should have this on your iPads. Okay, here we go. So just for the folks at home, because this is a good time to say we are being as transparent as possible. I keep saying I'm out there with a bullhorn to anybody that'll listen. This is happening. Our website is amazing. I always want to give a shout out to Jeff Langford. Go to the Eastern Airport website. Right there at the top says Airfield Modernization Program. You hit that, it'll take you to our projects, but it'll answer all of your questions. It really will. And if it's a question on there that's not answered, call me, send it to me. We will answer it, and we'll put it in our FAQ right at the bottom for the next person that has the exact same question. So it's on there. We're also improving our communication. We have a text service now where you can sign up to get text updates, things of that nature.
We've
So-
improved our communication too.
So we are doing everything we can to get the word out to everybody. So this is package one, and just for reference, what you see there with all the lines, this is the Talbot County Business Center currently. So again, this is the bypass right here, Parkway, Glebe Road. So this defines the outer work limits. You're probably 100 feet maybe in from the roadway. This is the outer work limits. There will be staging. Everything external of the building is going to be removed starting in October. So there's going to be a driveway to come in. We'll leave enough room because we know the sheriff will be there and some other government entities. You know, you'll be able to get in, get to the parking lot, get inside the building. Everything else will be removed, starting with this first package. This is where the new wetland site will be. There's the ponds here right now. So it'll really transition to a very large swaled system that doesn't hold water, and it'll definitely clean up the environment nicely. This is the work area for the mass earthwork. This is the end of the current runway. This is a huge parcel, about 70 acres, and this is going to be brought up to grade. And you can't tell here. We have a significant. We're on a hill. That's Mount Easton. If you've never been out there, you know we're one of the highest elevations in Talbot County. I think 76 or so feet. And if you climb onto the stockpile behind the maintenance shop, you're at the summit. But from the top to here, you lose about 40 feet. And so we're going to maintain that grade all the way out. A lot of folks don't know, but from 30, about 32 here, by the time you hit Glebe Road, you're at 20 feet or less above sea level. So we're going to maintain that grade. Long story short, it's a lot of dirt, and it's going to be brought in and leveled out, not only to build the runway, but the adjacent taxiway infrastructure as well. So it's not, you can't see it very well on here, but these lines, these dark lines indicate the service roads that'll be put in the fall with the ground up asphalt from the parking lots. Again, the reason we're putting them in, another benefit of putting the service roads in is our construction vehicles will not only be able to move around on the airport without going out on like Centerville Road, but they won't impact the operation. So they won't have to call the control tower. Planes can still land. They'll actually go outside of those safety areas, and planes can still operate. This is a huge borrow site. This is Route 50 up here, Centerville Road. That's the little rest areas right here. So right across from that, where the field crowns. Believe it or not, the reason it's so high is because this is the soil from when they excavated the original runway 80 years ago. So we're actually moving it 80 years later down to the other end to build, the runway. So it's kind of a cool story. But that's a borrow site. And then of course, here's our maintenance shop, the airport office. This area over here is a large borrow site. We're gonna be taking soil from there as well. So the whole airport's gonna be involved. It's gonna be a lot going on. And when I say 80% of the environment's gonna be changed, everything from this end of the runway, right here, down this taxiway, and including 1533, which is the smaller runway, it just makes sense to redesign and rebuild all of this as well, because we have to change the drainage. So all of this will be redone. And then of course, when the shift happens, this will be 1,900 feet added down there. So with that being said.
One question. So
Yes, sir.
you're probably going to get to this, but how long will the actual runway and airplanes be shut down? Is it for a year or so? Or
So
couple years?
no, and that's a great question.
Uh-huh.
We have painstakingly planned this to be flexible and work with the airport community to keep operations going. So the first thing we did is, since we have the 2 runway configuration, we'll always have 1 runway available at any point in time. So obviously 422 is the big one, 5,500 feet, and 1533 is only 4,000. So if only 1533 is open, we do have some operational restrictions. However, this is all going to be, everybody's going to know. None of this is going to be sprung on people. Like I can tell you right now, we're gonna have a runway closure for 7 months next year. 422 will be closed for approximately 6 months, and 1533 for 1 month. What I can't tell you is those dates yet, but once we get the
Bless you.
grant awarded, once we give the contractor administrative notice to proceed, they'll start putting the time schedule together. So we will know, you know, whether it's March, whether it's April, what days that runway is gonna close. The other thing we're gonna do is, since 422 is it's the biggest deal out there, we're not gonna close it for more than a 5-day period. So what we're gonna do is, we're essentially gonna close on Monday mornings at 8 o'clock, keep it closed for 24 hours, because this project will go around the clock. So these guys aren't knocking off at 5 o'clock. So this will be a 24-hour day operation. So we'll close at 8 on Monday, and we'll reopen at 8 o'clock on Friday. That way the jets can plan their movement, you know, get out before it closes, and then they know they can get back in on Friday and they can fly during the weekend. So it's a lot of communication pieces here. And we've already started with our users so that they understand that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah.
And really, that's it that I have on the main presentation as far as the airfield. I got some education stuff, but if you wanted me to stop there, I'll take any questions you may have about the big project from any of the
That's
council.
good. Okay. Yeah.
Curious with all the green space that you're gaining over at the business center site, eventually at the northeastern end of 422, does this all become close turf grass, or are you able to do like native planted meadows and things like that?
You know, we actually can do native planted meadows and things of that nature. So we are in our planting plan that we submitted today. I can't remember the exact numbers, but there was a lot of meadow in there. There's trees in there. Essentially, it'll be a mix of a park-like environment. So if you're looking at it from the Glebe Road area, it'll be a park-like looking environment outside of the fence line, and then airfield, maintain like the airfield inside the fence line. Now, unfortunately, and I asked this question and I pushed for it and I tried to find a way that we could do it, because I would like a park down there or a sightseeing area. But we're limited in 2 ways. One, it's the runway safety area. So the primary purpose is it has to be remain clear, you know, for that purpose. But even with that, there was a couple little corners I thought maybe we could squeeze something in. But the fact that it's in the voluntary cleanup program with the MDE prohibits us from using it for anything else. It has to remain clear once we do what we need to do. That was part of our agreement with the MDE. So we're not going to be able to put a park out there, unfortunately. It'll look nice, and certainly we're not going to dissuade people from, you know, at the end of the day, if they want to go walk their dogs out there, but it won't be advertised as a park or things of that nature.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
I'll just go back to this real quick. I'll finish my presentation and then I'll ask for my the grant stuff. Let's see here. I think most of my time was dedicated to, rightfully so, to the program. But I did want to point just a couple of highlights here, that we still have a lot of other things going on out there. I always like to highlight our education program, the aviation career education program that we do. We've recently done a Radial Engines 101. We have a Women Fly for Fun thing that's coming up. It's a day that's geared to women. 13 and up is the age on that. Airport and business tours have started picking back up, which is another thing. Now that the weather's nice, I would like to extend the invitation to all of you guys. If you want to come out and actually see firsthand, because it really does. If we, you know, we can get on the gator and run out there, and you can actually see. It's like, oh my God, the size of this is it's really impressive. It is. So to get out there and really understand what things are going to look like and where things are going to be, and to see the wow, you know, this is really going to be a huge improvement from this to what you're talking about. I think you could really gain a good perspective. We have an aviation library set up. Our ACE Passport program's in full swing. We're doing a series of walk and talks. They're usually attended by our retired community. A lot of fun. We have 4 dates coming up. And we really, give us a call. If you have a community group, a civic group, So give us a call. We'll put something on the calendar. We want to be transparent. The best thing I do is to take people and walk them around that ramp and let them look, let them ask questions, and then, they almost every time they walk away with a completely different perspective on what's going on out there. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Airport Day, October 14th. So it's a good time every year. I always like for people to put it on their calendars early.
One last question. This is
Yes, sir.
Can you give the public a sense where everybody knows where Black & Decker is now? Can you give us a sense where the new runway will kind of end?
Yep, absolutely. So I put this graphic up that shows this is the current airfield this is the threshold of runway 4. This is the Talbot County Business Center. There's a fence that's right here now. So this is where the airfield currently ends. So this threshold, once this is done, will sit about right there.
Where the fence is, close to where the
Close
fence is.
to where the fence is now.
Okay, that gives everybody, the public, a sense of where it's going to be.
That's right. This runway will be down here, and then this parallel taxiway Alpha the same way, and then there'll be new taxiways installed. But it'll sit right here. This entire parcel will be brought up to to grade.
Right.
So it'll be a flat surface, whereas now it's like hills out there.
Yeah, I got you.
So it'll
Good, thanks.
right there.
Good, I appreciate
And
that.
this, another
Yeah.
thing too,
Yeah.
again, this will all be green space. The only thing that will be on it is some lighting, fencing, and, just for a kind of rough estimate, you can see the utility poles here. So that'll be the outer work limits of the fence during the construction phase. Once the Black & Decker, former Black & Decker is demolished and all the work's done, that will be moved back to probably, I'd say approximately right here. So it's gonna be, the fence will be moved back a significant ways back from the road.
That's great. Ms. Melky?
I just have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
quick question. You say that the Easton Airport will pay for the remaining 5% of the cost of the modernization. With the construction that's going to go on and the potential of closing runways and new ones, are you confident that the airport will be able to maintain its income to cover that 5%?
Yes, ma'am. That is a great question. One of our points of pride out there is that we've been financially self-sustaining for 30 years this year. And the reason I put that in there, that this is our priority, this is going to be our priority. So, realistically, this year it'll be $600-some thousand. That'll be our share. Every year we'll have to take a look at that. I'm sure the amount will be similar to that year to year, and that'll be our budget priority. So, other things around the airport we're going to have to take some critical looks at some other projects, and they're going to have to slide. They really are. We have planned for this. We have purchased things in our capital budget the last couple years to prepare, because we knew that we were going to have to tighten the belt and really focus on this project for the better part of a decade. So yes, I am confident that we will be able to meet our obligation because it's going to be our priority.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions?
I just have a question about the
Yes.
runway.
Sure.
What is the actual footage for the runway currently?
Okay, so currently there is 5,500 feet of runway surface out there, but because it's too close to Route 50, it cannot all be used depending on the operation. So in a worst case scenario, if you have a jet that's departing off of runway 4, we use what's called declared distances, and although there's 5,500 feet of pavement, we can only operate as we had 4,775. So that's when we say when it's operationally shortened. What that means is when the pilot's literally, punching all the data into the computer, and doing his weight and balance and how heavy can I be, he cannot, they can't punch in 5,500 feet. They have to punch in 47, and then that gives them a completely different configuration. Once this is complete, we will have a 6,400 foot runway that'll be completely usable. And that's a big deal for the economic side of things, because 5,000 is the threshold for a lot of jet companies where they won't even use our airport. So, jets coming up and down the East Coast that might want to, pop in and buy a couple $1,000s worth of fuel and, give us some tax revenue, or, fuel fees rather. we're off their list. They look down there and say, you know, it's a hot day, it's humid, I can't take off in 4,700 feet. We're not going to go to Easton, we're going to land at Martin or something like that, and they get the money and we don't. So once we do have the 6,400 feet, it will be, again, I always say, it's going to secure the future of aviation in Talbot County for the next 100 years.
Yeah, I agree with that because I worked with the airport in Dorchester and
Oh,
we did
yes.
an expansion as well. And that can also open up opportunities with that, with the larger runway for business enterprise as well.
It is going to be the biggest thing to attract businesses to Talbot County that we've done in a
Yeah.
very long time. And that's another whole, I can give you another whole presentation on this
Yep.
kicking open the door
Yep.
to bring business to Talbot County, but you're absolutely right, Ms. Hayes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, I guess you got a few asks, so,
I do, yeah, I have to actually put all this stuff in motion, so,
Right, right.
we need to ask for 3 specific things.
So, Mr. Stamp, you wanna kind of lead us off with that?
Sure, normally
Okay.
this would be put under county manager report, but
Yeah.
this is a standalone item on your agenda, which you
Okay.
can move forward as a standalone. Staff is supporting Micah's request. I would hand it back to him and ask him to describe the 3 different questions he's asking council.
Yep, and we'll be voting on each one of them.
That's right, thank you.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Frank. All right, so essentially what we'll need to do is a request from Easton Airport to apply for and accept the grant funding from the Federal Aviation Administration for the AIP grant program and the bipartisan infrastructure law airport infrastructure grant. That's what we call the Bill AIL for the airfield modernization program. So that total amount that's going to be is $11,213,120. And we're requesting permission to apply for those funds from the FAA and to accept them in September.
Okay, so, is there a motion?
Yes, motion to apply for the grant funds and accept them.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Madam Secretary, is a motion second to apply for the grant funds? Can you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, you're next.
Thank you. Okay, so also, we already going out to bid for the project. We opened the bids on April the 13th. Atlantic Contracting and Material Company Incorporated was the lowest responsive bidder for a total of $10,494,054.00. And so my request would be that we award bid number 2304, Package 1, Improved Runway 4 RSA, Easton Newton Field Airport, Easton Talbot County, Maryland, to Atlantic Contracting. I would also like to say that this award is contingent upon being awarded the FAA funds that we're applying for. So we will not issue a notice to proceed. What I'm asking for is permission to award, but we are not going to issue a notice to proceed until FAA awards us the grant. So the reason I'm asking is that when FAA does award the money and we know it's coming, we can get the contractor NTP.
So question on that. So this contractor package, this is like a package, like a first phase for this contractor, and I'm assuming this contractor is going to be from start to end.
So that they'll only be the first 12 months. They're only package 1. And what we did as a contingency is we built package 1 in 6 phases within package 1.
Okay.
So as an example, let's say FAA comes back and says, we don't have 11, we have 7. We can cut phases out and give them notice to proceed on 1 through 4. But that is the goal here is once we receive the funds from FAA, once it's awarded and we know the check's in the mail, we can give NTP and we can start to contractor mobilize them.
But my question is I'm assuming this contractor that you pick and award this job after you said these projects, these first phase projects, we
We're
wouldn't
going to
go
do
with
this every year. So this this is just 1 year of work. This is
Okay.
this is 12 months of work. And then next winter, we're going to bid phase 2, which will be the actual demo of the of the Talbot
I got
County
you.
Business Center.
I got you.
And then whoever wins that, it might be the same contractor, but if not, we'll be back here this time next year awarding that one. So this is a 12-month project.
Okay. Okay. Is there a motion?
I have a
Yeah, go
question.
ahead. Go ahead.
So
Sorry. I'm sorry.
according to FAA regulations, you can go ahead and bid it out now before the grant award is made.
They require it. They need to know the numbers.
Okay,
So, yeah, we had to bid it and have real numbers before we could even put a grant application in.
okay,
Then the state required the exact same thing. So, and actually, once I get you guys' approval, we send it to the clearinghouse, and they require all this months in advance, which is a challenge for us, and it's a huge challenge for the contractor that have to hold their bid price for 6 months. So it's
Right.
a lot of work's going into this. It's a tough thing,
Right.
right,
which is part of the reason why we need to be able to move quickly when we get the money.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, got it.
So just one last question.
Sure.
So are you responsible for directing the contractor?
So the third thing that we're gonna do
Okay.
is AECom's gonna do construction administration and management.
Gotcha.
They're gonna
Gotcha.
do the project management.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? Okay. There's a motion to go ahead and award the package 2304 for the first package phase. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all right, we got a motion second to move forward with the package bid 2304. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye. Does the motion need to say contingent upon the grant award? Or anything like that? Or is that automatically
It should
assumed?
be
It's,
contingent.
It will absolutely be contingent.
But-
None of this is gonna move forward
As
until
part of the record, council would like, as part of that motion, contingent upon
grant
receipt of
award.
the grant award.
Contingent on the grant award, okay.
Yeah.
So if we could put that in the motion, Madam Secretary, that'd be great.
And no notice to proceed will be given until the grant award.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
Yep.
Probably should be noted
Okay.
in there
Does
as
that,
well.
Absolutely.
does that require a re-motion, just to put that in stone?
You want to read the motion back then?
Yeah. got it.
Please.
You want me to read
Well,
it?
it was said before that, that no issue, the notice to proceed would not be issued until the grant was awarded. But now you've added that, and you've added contingent upon the grant award period. So I got it all added.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Is that okay, council?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that just for note, on the letter that I did write, that verbiage is in there, contingent on notification of AIP and Bill AIG grant award. So it is my intention to fully wait
Yeah.
for those
Okay.
senators
Yeah.
to announce it before we do anything.
Yeah, we just want to make sure
Make
that
clear.
in the council record,
Yeah.
that's clear
Yes.
Yeah,
in the
That was-
motion.
yeah,
Yep.
that was,
I got it.
Secretary says
that
it's
was my point.
Okay.
in
Yep.
place.
Thank you. All right. Okay.
And
move on.
similarly, to your last question, a request from Eastern Airport for approval of Airport Consultants AECom's price proposal dated April 4th, 2023 for professional engineering and construction phase services for bid number 2304. Essentially, we're hiring them. They're the same ones who designed the project. We're hiring them to be the project managers and to be there to provide the day-to-day oversight of the contract.
I got you.
So
Okay.
I'm requesting permission that we approve their statement of work. As for $701,432. Again, that is reimbursable at the 90%.
Mhm. Okay.
And that's also included in that 11 million fund. That's part of that 11 million that we're submitting to FAA for the grant.
So is there a proposal just for that first phase or the whole project?
This is just 12 months worth of work.
Okay. And then you'll bid it out again?
Well, exactly, we'll bid
Okay,
it again.
okay.
We're gonna get so used to doing this, this
I'm
is just gonna be a
right,
cycle,
right.
right?
I got you.
Yeah, we're basically, it's 1 year at a time, one package at a time.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Any other questions from council? Okay, you okay how this is sort of, go ahead.
I did, but never mind.
You
Go
sure?
ahead.
Go ahead if you got something.
And also too, I'll add,
Okay.
this also is contingent upon the grant award. So we're not gonna give them notice to proceed until we know we have the grant award.
So why don't you restate the question for council?
Okay, so, request from Easton Airport for approval of airport consultant AECom's price proposal dated April 4th, 2023 for professional engineering and construction phase services for bid number 2304 for $701,432 contingent on notification of AIP and Bill AIG grant award.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Second. Okay, we got a motion second to go ahead and award bid 2304, which would be airport consultant proposal. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank
I
you.
appreciate it, Council.
Okay,
See you next year,
appreciate
my
it.
friend.
Good job, thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
that was a lot.
that was a lot, but it's been going on.
I told Michael we'll see him next year.
Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Council, thank you, and I trust you want to move into county manager report this time?
Yeah, quickly.
Okay, yes, sir.
I'm
Very
kidding you.
No, it's good. I have two items for you this evening. The first, I'll ask Ray Clark to come forward, your county engineer. He has a request from the Department of Public Works to apply for and accept an operation and maintenance fund grant from the Maryland Department of Environment Bay Restoration Fund. This is a bit of good news I think he's going to share with you, so I'll hand it over to you, Ray.
Sure thing. This is actually each year, when funding is available, MDE has a grant, O&M grant for wastewater treatment plants. Typically, if you meet the 3 milligrams per liter of total nitrogen and 0.3 milligrams per liter of total phosphorus, you're eligible for a $30,000 grant. I guess 2 years ago, because we actually beat those numbers. We were down, let's say, around 2 milligrams per liter, and even, let's say, less than 0.1. We ended up getting a $42,000 grant, and then last year we received about $56,000. So it would be a basis of $30,000, but then we're eligible for additional funding. This year we're at a discharge of 1.07 milligrams per liter for total nitrogen, and well below on the total phosphorus as well.
Okay.
Mr. Clark, has the improvement of, is this an improvement of the performance of the St. Michael's system, and is it attributable to the recent work in reduction of infiltration and in the system?
I can't say that our work in the St. Michael's collection system hasn't helped. This has probably helped us a little bit. One of the things that we'll say is the weather can be unique. We haven't had a lot of cold weather. So like one of the things we're hoping for is in December and January, or especially in December, a lot of the, let's say, Western Shore had colder weather. And when you have cold weather, their numbers aren't as good. So we're hoping that, this will help us get more money this year.
So this is just a function of the temperature affecting the biology of the treatment system?
Yeah, typically it's like bugs in us. If it's cold, they don't want to work too hard, so they're kind of, hunkering down.
Well, I'm with the bacteria on that.
Okay. Anybody else got any questions?
No.
Okay, so, all right, we got a request here. Do we have, got a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and second to go ahead and for Ray to go ahead and apply for the grant funding of around $30,000, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Madam Secretary, could you call the vote, please?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Okay, thank you, Ray, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ray.
The next item I have, council requesting this is an annual request, requesting to transfer Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development DHCD housing bond allocation. As you read in your agenda packet, I'm requesting council approval to transfer the county's tax-exempt housing bond allocation to the Community Development Administration in the amount of $1,557,360. The state will then utilize local government housing bond allocations to issue bonds to fund housing programs or to issue mortgage credit certificates. And I need council approval for that.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second to go ahead and a request to transfer the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development housing bond allocation. Madam Secretary, could you go ahead and call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
And that
Okay.
completes your county manager report for this evening. Thank you, council.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
All right, so next what we have public comment. Anybody out there want to do public comment? Yes. There you go. All right, come on up here.
Terrence Bernard, good
Mhm.
evening.
Good evening,
Good evening,
Terrence.
Mr. Stamp.
Yeah.
I had mentioned a couple of times, I encouraged the area to have more publicity on our local law enforcement,
Mhm.
like sheriff, like city police, and neighboring St. Michael and so forth. I do have a last week's edition here, which I have 2 pages just to show the photos of the comments here, how they're promoting the law enforcement there, which I recommend. It's a good item here. I don't know how you would go across it, getting it done, but there's a new communication manager.
There we go. Yep.
Congratulations.
There we go.
That's my comment for tonight. It's like the continued, I'm a resident,
Yep.
taxpayer for years, and for me, not maybe your average citizen, but, I'm in there,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
it's valid.
Yep. Well, thank you, Terrence. I appreciate it. Appreciate you bringing this
Okay.
positive information to us, and we always welcome you. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Let's sort of move on to council comments. Who wants to start? Mr. Stepp.
I just wanted
good?
to say Happy Talbot Day, everybody.
There you go. There you go. Good job over there.
That's all
you
I
know.
have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Lesher.
Nothing further from me.
Okay. Ms. Melky.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Shore Gourmet. I took their tour a few weeks ago, and even though it's Caroline County, at the Greensboro Elementary School, they had farm-to-table food in the cafeteria, and with local farms identified, which is wonderful. But the best part of it was that they found that, with young children, they might not eat all the food. They have an apple, take 2 or 3 bites. So they had a lot of, leftovers. And what they did is they made an arrangement with a local farmer to donate the leftovers for his pig farm. So the things they're doing are wonderful. The other thing that they're doing here is on Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m., they have a show-go mobile with stocked with fresh produce, soup, salad, and sandwiches at the Talbot Senior Center. So I'll give a shout out to that, and all you seniors and others. It's not limited to seniors. Might want to check it out because it's a wonderful, wonderful mobile store that they have. And then one last thing is to all you women golfers out there, Hogneck is going to be sponsoring a women's golf academy, so I suggested you give them a call. It starts in May. Give them a call and get some more information and sign up if you will.
Okay, great.
Good. That's
Good.
So,
Okay, Ms. Heath.
I need to sign up for that.
Thank you, Member.
So I just wanted to recognize the Multicultural Resource Center attended their 10-year anniversary event and just saw the great photographs and information that they had in the Waterfowl building, showcasing the many families that have received services from that organization. So that was a great event. And then also, just, for the public's edification, that council will be having a APFO work session once we're finished with the budget. So I know a lot of, public residents have sent us many emails in regards to that. And the citizens, it's something that they wanted us to research, so we will be moving forward with that. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I'll wrap things up. On this agenda tonight, we had a lot of great things, and staff is doing a great job. We got that airport project is going to be huge for Talbot County. So Micah's doing a great job heading that whole program. I am on that liaison for that, and I'll try to keep the public notified too. So it's big for Talbot County, that's for sure. And I'll end it with with Mr. Stepp. I mean, we're going to do a little bit more since we've got communication girl out here, Sarah. So we'll make Talbot Day a little bit more. What's the word I want to use? A little bit more festive, festive, So and special. So I really appreciate that, you bringing it to our attention, and and Sarah, we're really proud to have you, and I think you're going to be a really big inspiration to all of us in the community and what's going on and stuff. So anything that the council can do to help you, we'd be more than glad to help you too. Okay. Mr. Lesser?
The County Council's next meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 2nd, beginning at 1:30 p.m. The council will be convening an open session at 12:30 p.m. And then adjourning into closed session to discuss real estate, legal, and personnel matters as listed on the statement for closing that meeting. The council will be holding 2 public hearings on Bill number 1529, an act to establish the 2023 to 2024 annual budget and appropriation ordinance on that date. 2:00 p.m. here in the Bradley Meeting Room and 7:00 p.m. in the Easton Elementary School cafeteria, located at 307 Glenwood Avenue in Easton. Therefore, is there a motion to adjourn this meeting and reconvene as noted?
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion seconded to go adjourn this meeting. Madam Secretary, could you call the vote?
Mr. Callahan?
Aye.
Mr. Stepp?
Aye.
Mr. Lesher?
Aye.
Ms. Milky?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.